Great day. This is Keith Russell Lee, Senior Minister and Spiritual Director of the Destiny Center for Spiritual Empowerment, as well as best-selling author and business leader. Happy New Year and a Happy New You. I love this time of the year, and I love being able to come on daily and sharing on Manifesting Your Destiny TV these wonderful lessons. Now, as I was sharing with you at the beginning of the year, one of the things that I do is I always go back to the basics. And the back of the basics for me is going back to my signature work, which are the 14 principles to power faith and living. It is a spiritual guide to creating an extraordinary life. As I shared yesterday, that I believe that Jesus, it's the words of Jesus that says that I've come that you might have life and have life abundantly. And that life is Zoe. It's a life that is enriched, fulfilled, meaningful, and purposeful with resources, or as one writer called it, a God kind of life. I really believe as we are starting 2018, as I said, this is an artificial line of demarcation, but as we start this 2018, it's about us living life fully. Living life fully. Now, I left off yesterday talking about a power faith consciousness and the fears that we have of really walking in the true awareness of all that we are. Now, another word for power faith consciousness is just simply our psychology of being. And that's walking in the faith of God. That's walking in the fullness of all that God has for us. Now, when that begins to happen, a lot of times we freak out, right? A lot of times we get afraid, like, oh, wow, can I be, can I do, can I have the things that I want to have? But let me share this, folks. There is nothing to fear in terms of life and you being all that God would have you to be. Now, let me go into the book I want to share, and I'm on page 16. About how we get rid of fear. That's the subtitle here. But I said that fear is the greatest enemy that rises up against a power faith consciousness. For fear tells us that we cannot possess that kind of power within our lives. And as I shared with you, the power that is resident inside of us is the Holy Spirit. It's the fullness of all that God is. It's that same power that created the heavens and the earth. It's the same power that separated the waters from the dry earth. It's the same power that resurrected Jesus from the grave. Yes, that power lives in you. But the greatest fear comes in that, man, I can't do that. I cannot walk in the fullness of that power, right? And that inhibits us from ever being all that God would have us to be. Folks, you've got to make up your mind that you are not going to allow fear. These fears aren't even real, which I want to get into in a minute, to stop you from being all that God would have you to be. Now, there are many fears that we have into walking into in terms of this fullness that I write. But we have the power to say to mountains, be thou removed. Be thou removed. And so what excuse do we have for not living a life that is enriched and fulfilled? Now, what are some of these fears that we have? There's three things that we have. Number one, it's, as I call it, the fear of failure. What will happen, and that's page 17, what will happen if I use my understanding of power faith consciousness and then fail in my pursuits and quests in the development of my life? You know what? People who fear failure are people who play small. They are people who never take any risk. They never do anything but stay in that nice little box and they remain there. Folks, let me share this with you. You are not living unless you are truly risking it. You are not truly living until you put it all on the line. But let me share this, folks, because there's really no failure in God at all. There's only feedback. There's no such thing as failure. How can you fail when the fullness and the power of God lives, moves, and dwells and has his being inside of you? How can you ever fail when God is leading you and guiding you in your pursuits and in your life? How could you ever fail at anything that God tells you to do? So all of that is made up in our head. Those are the stories that we tell ourselves. That is the fiction by which we live by. And so we get caught up in these fear of failure. And failure, as I write, is a man-made concept in our minds that is driven by our egos in competition with others. There is nothing to fear. The next thing is this, the fear of others, right? Fearing others and what they might do or say has to be one of the most disappointing drawbacks that we have. One of the things that I have experienced in my own life is listening and taking comments from the peanut gallery. You know the peanut gallery. Those are the people who are out there that always has an opinion about your life. But one of the things that I have learned is this, that you are not other people's opinion. You have to understand who you are. And once you operate in the power of faith consciousness and be able to lay hold of the truth of God that is inside of you, and listen, you cannot allow anybody else's opinions or their thoughts about you to impact you. Matter of fact, the heaven with them and God bless them and keep them, but you have to know who in fact you are. So don't let the fear of others stop you or block you from being all that God would have you to be. Now, the third fear that you're going to have to eradicate and get past is this, the fear of the unknown. That many traditions do not teach faith in the vein of the power of faith and consciousness. After being a minister for, at the time of the writing, over 20 years and being immersed in religious teachings all of my life, a power of faith consciousness taught me that my life is full of boundless opportunities. Well, guess what? Some ministries don't say that life is boundless opportunities. They say that it's about being arduous and going through rough sides and that life is random and you can go on and on and on about these things. And so when we start talking about walking in faith, when you start talking about walking in the possibilities of life, that frightens many people because their minds are blown, because they don't realize the fullness of all that they have, or it frightens them that they can be able to walk in truly the possibilities of life. But but you got to get beyond that. You've got to be able to know, look, and this is where I'm at in my life now. I want everything that my God has for me. I want to live in possibilities. I want to live in the fullness of all that God would have for me in life. That's where Jesus was. And that's why Jesus says in John 14:12 that if you have faith in me, you'll be doing those things that I've been doing, and even greater things you will do because I go unto the Father. And so it's whatever your mind can conceive, whatever the heart can believe, as Napoleon Hill said, that it can be achieved. And that's the possibilities of God. And don't let the possibilities of God frighten you, but walk in that power, faith, consciousness. And I want to be dealing more on this developing the power of faith consciousness tomorrow. But I do want to be able to share in just the times that we have a couple of announcements, again, as I shared before, that January 20th, that's Saturday, January 20th, new location where we'll have the Saturday morning experience. The Saturday morning experience, our new location will be at the Northern Virginia Community College, the Annandale campus. They're in Annandale, Virginia, right off of 495. And so we'll be promptly at 9:30. We're going to have live music. Of course, the teaching is going to be spot on as we launch this new year. And I want you to be there. So mark that on your calendar. But also in the Philadelphia area. Yay, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, the city that I've been in and out of for the past almost 40 years of my life, that we will be having a Thursday night experience starting on January 25th. That's Thursday evening, January 25th at 7:30 p.m. The location is to be announced a little bit later this week. It's to be determined and announced later this week. But mark your calendar in Philadelphia area, the tri-state of Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, that we will be having the Thursday night experience at 7:30. And get ready, because I'm telling you, Philly is hot. Philly is excited about these teachings, and I thank God for my barber, Brother Eric, who is leading up that charge, getting people all involved, and I thank God for you, my brother. So now I do want to be able to also make mention of this, folks. Start the new year off right. Go to the website, Destiny SEC. Go ahead, sign up for the Destiny course or a course in prosperity and abundance. You've heard me talk about that. And at best, folks, go ahead and plant a seed. Every day I come on, I'm believing God for 200 people to become partners with this ministry, to sow a seed in this ministry. And I'm asking you to sow a seed of at least $50 in this ministry, that we can be able to expand and we can grow and we can take the gospel of success and prosperity and abundance across this world and to make a tremendous impact in the lives of God's people. Well, listen, Thanks so much for watching today. Live with faith and power and continue to create that phenomenal life. I'm Keith Russell Lee. If this has been a blessing, give me some love. Show me some thumbs up. Pass this on to somebody. Share some comments at the bottom, but definitely share this with others. Until next time, live with faith and power.